We love flying as a nation. Obviously, we're an island, and most of us rely on aviation to get us abroad. Well, the government and the aviation industry has a target to become net zero in terms of carbon by 2050. Now, a cynical person, I know you don't have any of those at GB News, but a cynical person would say, oh, that's just about far enough away that all the people taking the decisions now will be happily retired by then. But look, let's assume the best of this. A group called Sustainable Aviation, which represents the airline, says, we're very excited about this. Here's how we're going to do it. We are going to bring in large quantities of so-called sustainable aviation fuel, which comes from, how can I put it, a variety of sources, Eamon, from a large number of different waste products, shall we say. And the idea is that you will actually find that people are that people are flying around. They don't even realise it, but they're flying on sustainable aviation fuel. This year, Virgin Atlantic is planning to fly the first aircraft London-New York using only sustainable aviation fuel. The trouble is, this stuff is ferociously expensive and there isn't enough of it. That London-New York flight will be one of about 20 or 30 flights that day, and it's the only one, and it's probably the only one this year. So what actually this report is saying is we think there is going to be an impact, about 14% fewer passengers than would otherwise be as a result of the increased costs. So that's going to help us get to net zero, although obviously we don't really like the idea of fewer passengers flying. There's going to be other things such as electric aircraft, hydrogen fuel planes, and we will eventually get there. Meanwhile, please, aviation authorities who do all the air traffic control, just let us fly in straight lines. If you're flying across Europe, for example, the chances are you will be taking a much longer route than the most direct track, and that's due to kind of almost post-World War II aviation lanes in the skies.
That's a very good point. Though I do want to say, whether it's sustainable or not sustainable, I mean, as a commuter back and forward to Northern Ireland, horrendous airline prices, absolutely horrendous airline prices, particularly out of Heathrow and Gatwick. Am I going to have to pay even more?
Well, at the moment, exactly what is happening, and I'm finding just the same thing as you, is after the pandemic, of course, during which the airlines, the airport lost an absolute fortune, they are now thinking, right, let's try and make some of those losses back. And they are doing that. And you'll be aware, of course, that George Best Belfast City Airport and Belfast International Airport have brought in parking charges. On top of that, the airlines are just charging whatever they can get away with. There's fewer seats available. There's more of us wanting to travel, and that means the only way up is for prices. And while environmentalists would say, well, these measures from aviation aren't going far enough, the long-suffering passenger is just going to say, these airlines are making so much money that they don't need any subsidies for their sustainable aviation fuel. They should just be getting on with it. It remains to be seen, Eamon, just how much the very high prices that many of your viewers, as well as you and I, are paying, are really just a kind of post-COVID blip, because normally other airlines see all the incredible profits being made and pile in with more capacity, and airfares come down. But at the moment, you're quite right, it's very painful.